What's up, everybody? This is George Foot. I'm recording this because I'm not going to be with you, sadly, to be able to hear all the rest of you guys' stories, but I'm going to be down in Minneapolis attending a military function, so that's why I'm not going to be there. So I apologize for that. I got a lot to get through, so I might speak a little bit fast sometimes, so just listen a little bit faster, so I want to slow down for you to catch up, alright? Starting out with the two trees, the tree of knowledge and the tree of being. This is the story of the Garden of Eden. He's wrote the little squigglies down a couple of times on the board. So here's what it is that I got out of it, out of the Book of Arche, written by Dr. Rob Larson. I hope he corrects me if I'm like way off base from what I got out of it. So, what it's talking about is that half the world's population is monotheistic, meaning that people are believing in either Christianity, Judaism, or Islam. Alright, we believe in pretty much the same God. We can kind of trace back to the Garden of Eden story. Some people believe in some of these things, like the Garden of Eden story, like heaven and hell, like angels and demons. Some don't, alright, within this system. Now, you have the people that are believing in this half of the world's population, and then the other half believing in whatever they believe in, or nothing at all. But everybody has the same kind of urge, the need for specificity of where it is that we came from, the need for actuality, for getting into your philosophies of logic and reasoning, to have concrete proof and evidence of where we came from. All right, now you can go into the 20th century of them discovering the binary code, and which helped us break down the deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA, which was discovered by Watson and Crick, which gives us kind of a story of who we are. Now, if you look in the book, it talks about cloning. Clone coming from the Greek word of twig. And what they would used to do was cut a branch off a tree, and they would plant that to grow another tree. And this new tree had the same genetic makeup and code, a clone of its previous tree. Now, same thing with us. We have DNA. Alright? We have the ability to clone ourselves. We get into the situation of trying to figure out if this clone, this new person, is a person at all. Does it have the same consciousness as us? We have identical twins in the world. They have two separate consciousness, but they have the same identical genetic makeup. So, do these clones, if we were to, cook them up in a lab, like on Breaking Bad, and go ahead and make these clones and everything, do they have their own separate consciousness? And if they do they have a soul or anything like that? Because they're not, divinely made through God, through procreation in the Gangsta Nation. You dig? So, it opens up a whole lot of new things that you can dive into and kind of swim around and try to figure out which way to go with it. Now, philosophers have been trying to break this down and have this concrete proof and concrete evidence of, is there a God, where did we come from, and they haven't been able to do it, and they're far smarter than me, so I'm not even going to attempt to try to do it right now in this short amount of time. Other things I'd like to get into is the fact that we have different things going on in the world with these corporations that are swallowing up other corporations. The day of capitalism, of being able to have multiple organizations to give you different products, is kind of dwindling now. Like the food market, which you saw in the video, was talking about how there are very few select companies that control the food market. Alright, you have these oligopolies that are starting up that are dictating what it is that you eat, what it is that you think, what it is that you utilize as far as media platforms and everything. So your news organizations are ran by very few actual companies. Your cable companies are running everything too, and they own your wireless internet, all these things. They're controlling all this, and now they're also working together, I do believe, because guess what? they're swallowing up all the smaller companies, so that's no competition. So you just have a few main big ones, and I'm pretty sure they're talking to each other to dictate what it is that they're going to release in the future. Have you ever noticed how the fact that when new technology comes out, for one, the Mach series of razors and everything, they could have just came at you with 5 razor blades on the thing, but they chose otherwise. They said, no, we'll start them out with 2, then we'll jump it up to 3, then we'll put 1 on the backside, then we'll give them 4 with 1 on the backside, then 5. It's kind of crazy. It's called money, though. They want to make more money. If you're ever following me on Twitter, you'd also know that the drug administrations and stuff, the pharmaceutical companies, the United States pays the most for pharmaceutical goods and medical services than any other nation in the world, except for Australia has us beat on LASIK surgery. All right, and that is because these other countries, these European countries especially, they have these groups that go and talk to the pharmaceutical companies and negotiate with them and break down the price. So that way, instead of paying $400 a bottle for a bottle of medication, you only pay $46. This shit is crazy. All right, so that's just a few things. Also, I mean, you have things like Alan Turing, who was looking at trying to get artificial intelligence to be able to talk to people to make it seem that they're actually talking to another person. He believed by this time in our day, in our age, in our era, that we would already have this accomplished, which we have not, supposedly, but he figured that that is what would happen, and a whole lot of other things too. I am running way out of time, so sorry I couldn't be there. Saints gear, represent homecoming, you dig? I'm out.